All right, hey Reggie, this is Nuts again. So I saw that video you did on the project you have there in North Africa, and it's gonna be a tough one, and a lot of that's gonna be a challenging one to get four countries to agree on a common currency, currency. Um, I mean, I don't know, what the situation's there, but you're talking about you know, countries that have uh, histories between them, and influences that are outside the country that might not like it, or might want it, or might want to take it for themselves. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be a tricky endeavor there, and it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some time away for you to get that done. And I support you on it. Because in your heart, you got to do something, because there's going to be something that's going to come out of that. And it might not be the currency; it might be something else. But you know, um, you know, I support you on it. But this is the thing that I'm worried about. All right, and I'm sure you've been thinking about this too. Okay, so the 4th of December. Okay, that's that witching hour, the triple, the quadruple witching hour. That's when all the banks are going to have all their money. The investors, they're going to have money available to put into crypto, and I think that's what they're waiting for, as far as Bitcoin starting to move. I think it's been suppressed because they're waiting for something, and I think the bankers are waiting for this date because they're going to have a lot of money coming back to them to invest elsewhere, and we're only around 2 months away. And we got that big ETF that's happening in November, which I think it's going to be delayed all the way till, I think it's going to be delayed around till December, because, they don't want it to run. They don't want it to run until they have the money so they can buy all the cheap Bitcoin and stuff like that. So the thing that I'm worried about is that it's only 2 months away, right? So right now the investment bankers are looking at all the tokens. They have their spreadsheets out. They're getting all the ones that they want to get, right? And if they are looking at Veritasium, right, you're going to see, everyone's like this, right? Everybody has this same pattern. But the difference between, the other projects and yours is that, okay, you got the reports business going, right? So people pay the VERI tokens for the reports. You have the VERI hedge fund, automatic hedge fund. Then that's up and running. But I don't see it around. I don't see anybody. I don't see it advertised. And then you have the VERI gold. But it doesn't affect the token, right? The VERI token. And you got to just realize how much are you really making off that, off these the VERI gold. You probably get a service fee, but is that all? Most of that's going to Brinks, for storage and holding, and and shipping, right? So there must not be that much revenue coming out of that, And so, as an investor, what is it in the future that people are going to say, hey, let's pick that up because Veritasium's going to do this, and we're waiting for that. What they see is, now you're going to go over to Africa and help put a currency together, and then even that is a very potential VERI investor. It doesn't equate to anything in the VERI token, right? So and I know it's the contracts is not a security. You're buying it for a service, but you got to realize we didn't buy them to buy a service, right? We're taking the risk of going through this unregulated market, taking all these risks for high returns, But that's, let's just not even talk about the investors that have invested in it now, right? Let's just talk about the future of the VERI token. You got institutional investors that are making their list right now, and the VERI token doesn't have a strong use case anymore. Because the Jamaican Stock Exchange didn't go through. The products that you have out now aren't being advertised. I mean, it's not being it's not being used, is it? I mean, how, and you don't have to, I mean, don't tell me that, but what kind of revenues are coming out of that, right? So I'm just saying, I'm just saying. And one of the things about being a founder and the CEO of a company is that no one can talk to the CEO straight, right? I mean, you know what I'm talking about? And you could tell if you got a group of people that can't talk straight to you. Just try putting a mistake on a paper or a presentation and present it and see if anybody says anything, or do something that's obvious that you made a mistake on. And if no one corrects you, then you know that no one's talking to you straight. So I don't mean to be the one to do this, but I'm just gonna say it, yeah, because it's helpful, right? So there's no use case anymore that's gonna say that Veritasium is a $1,000 token like it used to be, So you just have to look at the volume of these last couple months, and even when you had your new partner come in, it dropped, and I think it was like this day, like here's all this guy has all these schooling and but people just say, oh, it's not going to work, because there's nothing coming from it, and if it gets down to the fact that when the institutional investors come in and they don't pick up the VERI token, it's going to be a dead token. No matter, and then trying to get out of that, when the parade's already started, you're going to be playing catch up, and even then it might not even work, because these things act like penny stocks, it's just, until it starts generating revenue and you're using the token, it's all speculation, right? And the name of the game, the name of the game is to have such a robust future that includes this token that the VERI company, starts getting noticed, and that's what the issue is. I mean, you got 2 months, to say something or to have something in place to say that, yeah, VERI token is worth, $520 because this and this is coming, and if it's not, I mean, this is the big picture. If you can't get the VERI token up, right, and if it goes down to $5 or it just flounders at the bottom, there's going to be a time when you're going to need all those tokens to help your cause out there, right? And if it's at $5, you're not going to have enough. It's a government, right? So you're not going to have enough to help them get on their feet, because it's going to be the crisis. I mean, that's where Veritasium's going to explode. From all the groundwork you've been doing, they're going to finally come to their senses, or they're going to come because they got a real need now, right? I mean, their currency's dying, and and they're going to need help. And if the VERI token is, like I said, at $5, you're not going to have enough. You're not going to have enough to them, and that's how, that's how it works. That's how the Jamaican Stock Exchange got that other company, right? I mean, I'd be surprised if they were, they just got in business, but they offered some because they know the way that the government works there. I got this for you, I got that for you, and even the U.S. companies do this, But in when you're going to go into another continent, it's a whole different game there. Those guys have been there for hundreds of years. There are people in there that brothers and sisters are there, and you won't know any of them, and you won't know who's who's the opposition, who's going to steal your idea, and it's going to be a it's going to be it's going to be difficult to get 4 countries to do that unless you have a champion there. And even then you got to be worried about that guy, because he might not have the right intentions, and it's a different business, man. It's just a different business, working in other countries, unless you really know the culture and the it's just going to be difficult. But I'm telling you, it's in your heart to do it. You do it because there's going to be something that comes out of it. And I'm telling you, it's going to be the crisis, right? And they're gonna have a monetary crisis like no one else has, right? And they're going to have to come up with something. And you're not going to be able to help them if you don't have enough capital to inject into their coffers, and that's just the way it is there. That's just the way it is. And like I said, I support you on it, but I'm telling you, you got to get that VERI token up, because you're not going to be able to seal that deal without it, because that's how, you're going to have someone else there that's going to say, oh, I can do that, and let me give you this and that and pay for this. And it might be even another country, might be another corporation, that just wants to manipulate it even further. So this is a big deal. The token has already gone beyond the last support level before that big rise. So it's just like it's falling, it's falling, and you only have, these are the diehards here, These are the diehards, the guys who are in your community, the guys that believe that Cliff High's right and we just have to wait. But if you just sit back, or just have someone, maybe your partner, just say, hey, what is it? What am I not conveying? If you see it, if you see that the VERI token is going to go up higher than this, then it has to be conveyed enough so when these institutional investors come look at it, they're on it. And that's the way I see it. And you say, it's I don't look at price. I'm not concerned about the VERI price, because let my record stand for it. It's the price, man. It's the price. And I know they're not securities. I know they're value tokens, and it's in the contract and all that, but when it comes down to it, it's a penny stock. These things act like penny stocks, so it's marketing, perception, anticipation, until it gets to the revenue stage, man. And Veritas's been on board for 7 years, and I know you're a private company, you don't have to say what your revenues are, but I know they're not that big. They can't be. I bet you're bleeding money, and if it doesn't change, if it goes down to $5, whatever, you won't have enough to do your work that that your heart's into. And you can try all you want. You can make the best presentation, say everything perfectly, and it still won't work, right? Because there's people that don't want it. There's people that want to be the guys that want to do it, and you can sign an MOU with all of them, and they'll break it. And you can't take them to court. You can't do anything, And they'll probably want to do an MOU with you, so they'll, you'll be more open to tell them stuff, And then you'll tell them everything, and they'll say, oh, I could do that. And next thing you know, well, we're going to have, my cousin do it, or some Chinese company that gave us a power plant or something. So, that's what you're up against. And but you know, this has to happen, right? And it's dying. I mean, look at everything you've done, right? Very Gold didn't even pop it up. You got a new business partner, didn't pop it up. You know, you got the reports, didn't pop it up. You've been traveling all over the world, man, and you know, and you got all these irons in the fire, but what it's not showing. So, yeah, so there it is. I mean, you know, and like I said, Reggie, I'm just saying things that maybe you've been thinking about, or you know, maybe your staff hasn't been able to, you know, sit down and really tell you, you know, where this is going. But this is your report card, you know. And I know it's not a stock and all this stuff, but it's showing that Veritasium is going to run out of money. That's what it's telling me. It's going to run out of money. So, anyway, you know, you don't have to respond back to me. But, you know, if you have time to think about it, right? I mean, like you say, oh, this, you know, nuts, you don't know what the fuck you're saying, and this is what we're doing. How come you don't know this, right? Just bring it, you know, bring it to the community, and just here, you know, there's been some concern about the VERI token, and let me tell you what our plans are, and here's our this, and I know I'm going overseas to help this, but here's this, you know, this is what we got in place for it, and get the confidence up, you know, so we can see this thing rise. But we need to see, you know, the big ideas again that have to do with the VERI token, you know. Like the gold thing was great, but it didn't affect the stock or the token, and you're gonna run out of money, you know, and then you won't have anything, man. I mean, you won't be able to do anything, you know. So it's critical, because 2 months, the first cut is the institutions. If they don't pick you up, your token's going to go even further down, and you won't recover. You know, you won't have time to recover. So, all right, man. Okay, I'll just send this to you, and then, you know, like I said, you don't have to respond back to me. I mean, these are just my thoughts and all that. And you just say, okay, I got that, man, and I'll show you wrong, and I'll tell the community. Or, you know, you say, well, let me think, you know, I don't need to respond back to that because I know what I'm doing, and that's fine. But I just want to let you know, or maybe not let you, because you probably already know this, right? But just put it in front of you again and say, man, listen, we gotta, you know, we have to get this fixed, you know, or at least have the opportunity to get it fixed, you know. Like all the, you know, the coins are down, but you know, this Veritasium, man, and you know, you're the granddad of these damn conferences, you know. You're the market maker, so you got to show them.